Most founders think that their pitch deck failed because of the slides, and it didn't. It failed because it didn't signal that you are a founder that investors can trust. So, I'm going to be sharing with you today the three credibility mistakes that you are making in your slides that are costing you your round. I'm Shayna Davis, and I help make founders fundable. So let's get into this because, like I said, most founders they think that they need the right tech and the right deck, and that's primarily what is going to help them to be able to bring in investment dollars. And you spend all of this time on your deck, or maybe nowadays you're using an AI tool that can help you create it quickly. And I believe that that is a massive mistake. But the things that you think might be wrong with your deck are actually not what is probably going to cost you your round. Mistake number one is that your deck is talking about your company, but it's not signaling your leadership. Listen, investors, I've said it before, they do not fund technology in and of itself. They are funding the founder and oftentimes the team that is behind the technology. So when you look at your deck and your deck is talking about product and your deck is talking about your go to market strategy and all of the things that are important. I'm not saying that they don't need to be there, but what is ended up happening is that it creates a credibility vacuum. So even though you may have great information in there about what you're building and how you plan to get it to market and how you plan to scale and how you plan to use the money, the investors find themselves asking if they can actually trust the person to be able to execute that. And your slides aren't answering that. So that's not a content gap. That's not a, I need another slide or I need to change some of the wording on the slides. This is a leadership identity gap. And so you have to take the time in your slides right after you grab their attention to talk about who you are and who your team is and why you guys are actually the ones that are the most credible people to be building this thing and bringing it to market and what it is that you stand for and why this matters now more than anything, what hill you're willing to die on in order to make sure that this industry gets where it needs to be. Those are the types of things that most founders do not think about putting in their deck. So if you think about two different founders in this situation, like they've got the exact same market opportunity, but one founder, their deck is all metrics, probably great metrics, but all metrics. And the other one, they have a clear POV on where the market is going and why they are the ones to take it there. So they have the same deck quality, but a completely different trust signal. Okay. Credibility mistake number two in your deck is that your deck is signaling uncertainty even when your words don't, because investors they read decks before they read people. And so if you have vague language, if you have hedged claims, inconsistent framing, all of that stuff is going to signal a founder who doesn't command their own narrative. I often say that, investors and potential customers and the media and a lot of other stakeholders will create a narrative for you if you're being invisible or you're being quiet or you're lacking credibility where you are visible. The narrative is going to be created for you if you don't create it yourself. So you have to make sure that you are recognizing that this is not a copy problem, that this is a messaging problem. So I want to give you an example. Um, you know, you can look at two different types of messages. The first one is, we believe we could potentially capture a portion of this market. I hear that all the time when I'm listening to pitches, even when I'm watching pitch competitions on television. Versus what you should be saying is, we're taking the SMB segment first because they have the highest switching pain and the lowest acquisition cost. So one signals doubt, and the other, it signals command. So the deck is actually broadcasting which one you are before you speak. And then number three, your deck doesn't exist in a vacuum, and most founders act like it does. I've said this before. Go back and listen to other videos. Investors look you up before, after, and sometimes instead of the meeting. So if your deck signals one thing, and then your LinkedIn, your bio, your online presence, your media interviews, when you've been on industry panels, if all of those signals are actually broadcasting something else or nothing at all, that gap is going to kill trust. And oftentimes it's going to cost you the meeting or it's going to cost you the round. So recognize that your deck is one piece of your credibility. It has to be good, but it's only one part of it. It's not the whole thing. And when it's the only piece, which oftentimes I see that it is the only piece, it carries weight that it was never designed to carry. And it prevents you from being able to accomplish what it is that you are looking to accomplish. So, for example, you have one founder, they send a sharp deck, then the investor, they Google them, LinkedIn, it's been untouched for years, months. There's no press, there's no visible POV anywhere. And I get it. You may be saying, hey, well, I'm early stage and I don't have any press yet. Create your own. What do I mean by that? Create your own videos online that is answering some of the things that you know that press would want to see, right? So oftentimes, like your deck can look credible, but the founder doesn't. Okay. So if this sounds familiar to you, just remember it's not a deck problem, it's a credibility architecture problem. And that's exactly what I fix. Early stage tech founders, all the way up through Series A, if you're getting ready for a raise or you're in one right now, I want you to look below in the description and book a call with me because I have a program that is called the Funding Edge, and we will obviously, yes, review your deck, review your pitch, but we'll actually look at, are you signaling the right level of credibility before you reach out to potential investors? So we can have a conversation and see if it makes sense for us to work together. So thank you for being here today, and let's get you funded.